Tonight on UC Sports, the women's basketball team struggles again versus a top-ranked opponent, this time against the #1 ranked South Carolina Gamecocks. We'll analyze where the Huskies will go from here with March just around the corner.
James Bouknight and the men's basketball team finally conquered their late-game demons to beat rival Cincinnati in overtime. Find out how Bouknight was able to lead the Huskies past first-place Cincinnati.
And later, we'll have Spencer Murray in studio to give you the UConn Top 5 Plays of the Week with the Husky High Five. All that and much more coming up next on UC Sports.
Welcome back to UC Sports. I'm Sebastian Garay-Ortega.
And I'm Jalen Green. The women's basketball team looked to make it 2 wins in a row as they traveled to Columbia to face the #1 team in the nation, the South Carolina Gamecocks, who were looking to gain their first ever win over UConn after 8 previous losses. Although the Huskies looked to deny the Gamehawks' pursuit of history, they would ultimately be denied and utterly dominated, losing by an 18-point margin. Richard Prosser was in Columbia and has the recap.
The Huskies are set to take on another top 5 opponent in which they have struggled against such opponents this year, with losses to Oregon and Baylor. This time, UConn heads to South Carolina to face the Gamecocks in front of a sold-out crowd of 18,000. The first quarter started out horrific for the Huskies. Airball shots and turnovers were all the Huskies could get in the first quarter. UConn shot 1 for 16 from the field, scoring a record-low 2 points in the first period. The offense picked up in the second for the Huskies. However, this didn't translate to the defensive end, as the Gamecocks were able to hit threes, get the ball to the basket, and score on second-chance shots. The crowd affected the Huskies as players had miscommunication on the court and struggled to hear coaching staff. South Carolina came out of the break shooting 3 for 3 from behind the arc. The Gamecocks wouldn't let their relentlessness end throughout the quarter. They continued to get second-chance shots with their tireless effort on the offensive end. In the end, UConn was not able to find enough offense or rebounding to beat the top-ranked Gamecocks. A positive takeaway was a 25-point performance by Crystal Dangerfield. Coach Gino Auriemma said losing a tough game is just part of a season.
And I have to say, before we go any further, we're allowed to lose a goddamn game once in a while where the other team plays better than us. So how about you write that somewhere?
Another tough loss for the Huskies against an elite opponent. UConn looks to move forward in their match against South Florida Sunday, February 16th. That's all from Colonial Life Arena. I am Richard Prosser, UCTV Sports.
UConn was unable to win another primetime showcase game after falling to Oregon at Gampel Pavilion the previous Monday, and now gets set to face the South Florida Bulls on Sunday. As the NCAA tournament approaches, the women's team will play all AAC conference opponents, which are all winnable games. Coming up after the USF game are Tulane and UCF. Next, UConn has 2 road games against Cincinnati and Houston, and lastly, the final game of the regular season against USF again in the XL Center.
The men extended their winning streak to 2 games after upsetting the Bearcats 72-71 in overtime. Guard James Bouknight contributed on both sides of the court, putting up 23 points alongside 4 rebounds and 2 steals. For his efforts in this game and the Huskies' victory against Tulsa, he was named AAC Player of the Week. Fellow guard Christian Vital put up 19 points, along with 4 assists and 5 rebounds, while guard Brandon Adams had a huge contribution off the bench to finish with 16 points and 5 boards. Samara Thacker was at the game in Gampel and has a report from this crucial Husky win.
On a day that saw Jim Calhoun and the 1990 Huskies honored, Dan Hurley and his UConn squad showed a familiar grit and toughness as they upset Cincinnati. The first half was off to an aggressive start for the Huskies as Vital led the way offensively with a quick 3 and a few attacking drives. But unfortunately, Cincinnati had the better start as the Huskies were attacking but couldn't consistently put the ball in the basket. But it would be UConn's intensity on defense that would spark their offensive momentum. An energetic defensive stretch led to back-to-back threes for Adams and a deep 3 from Vital, who had finished the first half with 14 points. Vital may have taken over the first half, but the second half was all about James Bouknight. The freshman sensation picked up where he left off in Tulsa, coming out on fire. UConn constantly went to Bouknight for offense, and he delivered.
There's so many big moments and big games ahead of that guy, and to do it against a team that's that physical was an impressive. His last 2 games against 2 of the most physical teams in the country and 2 great defensive teams.
But Cincinnati wouldn't die, and both teams went back and forth in the final minutes. With just over a minute remaining, it was once again Bouknight with a big bucket tying the game. Neither team could gain an edge in the final minute, and the Huskies were heading to their 4th overtime of the season. In overtime, it would be the UConn crowd that gave the Huskies the energy that they needed to make big stops. Bouknight gave UConn the lead by hitting a pair of free throws, and it would be the defense by the Huskies in the end with 2 seconds left that gave UConn a 72-71 victory. This is the second consecutive big win for the UConn Huskies as they improved to 13-10 on the season and look to keep the momentum going at SMU on Wednesday. From Gamble Pavilion, I'm Samara Thacker, UCTV Sports.
The Huskies traveled to Dallas tonight to take on the SMU Mustangs. They battled back late, but ultimately fell 79-75, despite James Bouknight's 21 points. UConn returned to the XL Center to face Memphis on Sunday.
The UConn football team received national letters of intent from 5 future Huskies last Wednesday, rounding out its 25-player class, head coach Randy Edsall announced. Of the 25 players, 22 of them are incoming freshmen and 3 are junior college transfers. The most notable players include defensive lineman Marquise Alexander, defensive back Ryan Blake, and running back Brian Bruton and wide receiver Darius Bush. The Huskies held their first spring practice last Tuesday and will look to build the momentum going into the summer months and to make an impact in the fall.
UConn baseball is set to start their season this Friday against Cal Poly in the MLB4 tournament in Scottsdale, Arizona. Senior captains Chris Winkle and Paul Gozo will look to lead this talented Husky team in the right direction, behind head coach Jim Pender's guidance. Winkle hit .264 last year with 13 doubles, a team-high 5 triples, 2 homers, and 44 RBIs. Gozo played his first games for UConn in 2019 after transferring from Tulane and had an immediate impact, hitting 2 go-ahead home runs against number 4 Louisville and at Texas State to help lead the Huskies to a pair of big series victories. Gozo will replace last year's starting catcher Pat Winkle behind the dish this year. The younger Winkle brother underwent Tommy John surgery this offseason. The Huskies will look to positively build out Friday as they get set to face defending champion number 1 Vanderbilt on Saturday and runner-up number 8 Michigan on Sunday.
And now it's time for Spencer Murray to give us the Husky High Five Plays of the Week.
Thank you, Jalen. I'm Spencer Murray with this week's Husky High Five. At number 5, your AAC Player of the Week, James Bouknight with the and one. Coach Danny Hurley loving every second of it. He's hype. Look at him go. At number 4, here's Christian Vital. This time it's CV showing he has a little bit of that NBA range. He shot 4 for 9 from downtown in the Huskies win. At number 3, Kristen Williams. Securing the rebound, pushing the ball down the court for the Huskies. At the buzzer, got it! Huskies would go on to lose in embarrassing fashion. At number 2, we go back to the freshman sensation with a step-back 3. Book doing his best impression of King James that time. Here he is. For your reference, folks, same move, same player. And now we go to your top play of the week. UConn down 2 points to Cincinnati with a minute to play. Here he is again, folks. James Bouknight in the clutch. Big-time players make big-time plays. That's all we have for this week. I'm Spencer Murray, and this has been your Husky High Five. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Spencer. The UConn women's hockey team lost the series finale to Vermont on Sunday after capturing a win on Saturday. On Sunday, the Catamounts came out firing just 3 minutes into the contest, taking the lead, but not before UConn could respond and even the score at 1-1 a minute later. Vermont added a goal late in the first and 2 goals early in the second, overwhelming the Huskies by putting up 2 more goals in the third to ultimately win 6-2. The Huskies are currently tied for 4th place in Hockey East with 26 points, trailing Boston College by 2 points for 3rd. They now get set to face Merrimack at home for a 2-game set on Friday.
UConn softball got off an exciting opening weekend participating in the FGCU softball tournament. The Huskies went 3-2 over the tournament with wins coming over against Georgetown, Boston College, and Florida Gulf Coast. Mary Beth Olson was awarded a spot on the American Athletic Conference honor roll for her efforts in the classroom and her performance on the field.
The UConn women's tennis team beat Seton Hall on Friday and lost to NJIT on Saturday. The number 1 team, consisting of senior Casey Chung and Muriel Moreau, opened with a 6-3 win. Soon after, the team would clinch the opening point at number 2 with sophomore Luciana Rabines and freshman Denise Lai's victory. Freshman Celine Takunyasi's victory in singles play would be the deciding factor, however, getting the job done for the Huskies to beat Seton Hall 4-3. Saturday saw the team get dominated, falling 4-0 to the NJIT Highlanders. Despite this, they were able to grab a 7-5 doubles win at the number 3 spot, thanks to the junior freshman combo of Elizabeth Kazi and Takunyasi.
And now, some news about the Huskies in the pros. The Arizona Diamondbacks announced on Monday that the team has signed former UConn baseball shortstop Nick Ahmed to a 4-year contract extension, according to MLB.com's Steve Gilbert. The deal is worth $32.5 million in total and includes performance incentives. Also, former UConn cornerback Jamar Summers made an immediate impact play in the brand new XFL League, recovering a fumble and returning it 28 yards for a defensive touchdown during a 23-3 win for the New York Guardians versus the Tampa Bay Vipers. That's all we have today for UC Sports. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at UCTV Sports and find us on YouTube at UCTV Channel 14. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.